Trading the foreign exchange market carries high risk and may not be suitable for all investors. Trading on margin, utilizing leverage can carry an even higher level of risk that can lead to a complete loss of investment funds. So before deciding to trade the foreign exchange market or using any of our software alert products, you should carefully and diligently consider your personal investment objectives, level of experience, and risk tolerance. There is a possibility that you could potentially sustain significant loss. You should not invest any capital or trade that you cannot afford to lose. It is your responsibility to be aware of and understand all risks associated with foreign exchange trading and to seek professional advice from an independent certified financial advisor if you have any doubts. Auvoria Prime does not exercise trading authority over your trades. You and you alone exercise discretionary trading authority over every trade.
We have Tuesday, April 20th. Looks like about 6:45 later on tonight, we have a red folder with New Zealand. Other than that, it looks pretty quiet for the rest of the day on this one. And then let's see on the FX book. April 20th, we have some British news coming out around 2 o'clock. We should be done with our session by that time, and you'll probably be done trading by that time, perhaps. And then later on this evening, the euro has some news from the banking, lending, and survey. So that takes care of that one. Looking to see where where everything is on just a quick glance on the scale, which ones are strong, which ones are weak. Right now, we're looking to see relative weakness on the New Zealand, the Aussie, the Cad, and strength on looks like the Swiss, US, are mostly on the higher time frames, both 15-minute and 30-minute. Looks like we have the combination. Actually, nothing's real conclusive, actually. It seems like it was kind of all over the place. But we'll take a look and see as we get trades set up. And we'll see. Well, it looks like right now we'll be pretty much trading to the strength of the Swiss and the yen on the 15-minute. And Swiss on the US and the Europeans on the Swiss and Euro and US dollar on the 30-minute. So we'll just see how things develop on that. Let's take a look. We do have a couple alerts coming in here. Let's see what we got. I did take a couple trades earlier. We'll see how they play out. And we had let me switch my screens again. And let's see, with the British Aussie, we just got this one. Actually just switched around. I think I was on this one. No, I wasn't either. Okay, this is the British Aussie. It looks like we had an up arrow. This was a little while ago, up arrow, and let's see how many zones we have on this one. Looks like we have 4, 1, 2, 4, 1, 2, 3. Looks like it's primarily, I'd say it's in a nice, I call this more sideways than a up or down trend. Load this, load my template up, see where the moving averages are. And it looks like the moving averages are more of a uptrend. I'd say I'd view this was just this was a relatively new zone that developed from the overnight session. We do have a little up arrow, and from here to here, looks like we have about 63 pips. That's pretty substantial. And we're a little bit late to the game on this one. Here's so this was here's where the alert came through, and we're already 27 pips out of the chute here. It looks like 72 to let's see. Right now we're about 13 pips out of the chute. It's coming back to retest. So I don't know. I say if it came back to, I'll be looking at a trend line on this one. We have a trend line right here. Here's the anchor. Here's the first hit. Here's the second. It just retested the trend line right off of this one. If it breaks the trend line, I may be willing to go and take it. Looking at a 5-minute chart, there's nothing else in the 5-minute, but here's our target on that. And that looks like that would be if a break, you have a break on the trend line, you still have enough room for your 20 pips. So you could use this as a pullback. Here's another trend line from the bottom. So here's the upper trend line, bigger, higher time frame. And then here's the lower trend line from here to here's the first hit. Coming back out, we'd be looking like this could be, the trend line would be just about intersecting with the moving averages right now. So this would be a pretty strong point right through here. So if it pulls back and this trend line holds, it might be worth taking that shot. And let's see, what else do we have here? British yen. Template load. Find out where my moving averages are. And right now it's showing an uptrend with the moving averages. Scroll out, see what the zones look like. And it looks like it's in an uptrend with the zones. No, I'm not seeing any alert on this one though. That was on the 15-minute. I'm not seeing, we have an alert here, but I'm not seeing any arrows on this one. Let's draw our trend lines. Here's the first one, here's the anchor, here's the first hit on the trend line, came down, violated it. Actually, we have a little bit of a pass and check here. It passed it, came back up, and right now it's retesting the check. I'm going to wait and see what happens with this one. See if we actually get a arrow alert on this.
I didn't get one either.
Yeah, that's kind of strange. Didn't see that. Let's see. Here's a 5-minute Aussie New Zealand. Let's see what that one is. Got a few of them out coming up here. Aussie seems to be Aussie New Zealand. Not a lot of strength difference between the two of those. It is showing some strength on the lower time frames with the Australian dollar. I have a couple little, let's see, have a trend here, which will bring it back up to this zone. We also have a sharper trend line. This one's getting broken right now. This is where the breakout was or is. This is look like a bounce arrow go. Let's see what we have. This one might be worthwhile. This may fit the arrow philosophy, except it's going contra trend. A downward trend on that one. Let's see where my moving averages are. And if we were to take it, I'd be wanting to have this be my target right in there. Well, that's interesting. On the higher time frame, we have a down arrow that already pretty much hit. And that's only 8 pips up to the moving average. I think I'll hold off on that one. That one's just not enough room to the moving averages. And besides, the arrow's going the wrong direction. There's a lot of things wrong with this one.
Mark says he's received an alert on gold. I didn't get one, Mark. What time frame are you looking at?
I have to pull my gold chart up if we did that. Chart window for gold. Put my template up.
Oh, there.
And put it on a 15-minute. Actually, we'll put this one on a 15-minute chart and see where we. Looks like we have a alert, but it's coming right up into a zone, so that's a no-go. All the moving averages are consolidating. They're all going kind of going flat across. So right now we have a little bit of a range, somewhat range bound right now. Looks like it's range bound between 1775 and 1760. So we have about a $15 range on the gold. Looks like right now it's at the upper part of the range. So I wouldn't take that one.
Yeah, the 5-minute is very similar.
Yeah. Let's see what else do we have here. I got a couple of trades open here. This one's getting close to 10 pip drawdown on this one, CAD yen. What happened with that? It looks looking pretty good earlier on. We have a bounce arrow go. We have plenty of room to the downside. Here's the entry on this. I looked at this one, and we had plenty of room. Well, at least my 15 pips. All the strength was in the right direction. Moving averages are in the right direction, but it's having a pretty strong pullback right now.
It's not a valid bag entry.
No, it's not. I was looking more on the just the overall position and momentum with the currencies. So this one might it may still work out, but I would probably rather have my stop. I'd like to rather have my stop a little bit over on this side of this moving average rather than where it is right now. Like I said, they're still looking like it's still this. Well, your 200 is kind of going sideways. We have a drop. Here's a little basing right here. And I kind of like keeping my stop a little bit on the other side of this little zone. That way, if this thing, because if this zone goes, then this probably go. If it can take out this little zone, it'll probably go up higher. But right now I've got 3 moving averages, all somewhat of a barrier, keeping me a little bit away from harm's way. I like having something in between a higher time frame moving average. In this case, it's the 200. I've got the arrow moving average, and I also have the 62 exponential moving average, which is the orange one. I have all that as a barrier of this down move. So this could very well be, let's see. Let's see exactly what the range, this is up or down trend here. Certainly is a downtrend. So we have lots of red and a little bit of a green down there. So this is in a downtrend. So that's fits. It's not a bag entry as CV pointed out, but it does have some other characteristics that I like. And we'll just see. It's taking a little bit of heat on it, but we'll just see what happens here. And let's see with the New Zealand yen. Let's see what that one's doing here. Looks like this is the same type of scenario here. Strong move down. Now I'm looking at this moving average. Now this one's probably a little bit more of an uptrend. And we have 1 little red zone here. We have 3 green zones. So it is in an uptrend. The moving averages are revealing that same. Here's our last green zone. Scroll out. Now this looks more like a bag entry. Here's a bounce, arrow, go. The only problem is it would be, the disqualifier would be it's not going in the right direction. But I did take this trade, going short with it. And I'm only going for the 5 pips. We're just going for the bounce off of the moving average. As that moving average climbs on up, I'll probably adjust my target. But from a Fibonacci standpoint, I kind of like this one if it's a nice strong move down. And if it can retrace, I like to keep my stop. Well, ideally, I'd like to have the stop be, if it retraces back to the 38 or 50 or 62, I'd want to have my stop up a little bit higher. So I'm just going to move my stop up here just as I watch to see how far this pulls back, just to keep it, because I want to be able to take myself out. I don't want the brokers to take me out. And right now I'm looking at, we may get a little bit of a bounce off of this one. This is a 38% retracement. If it retraces back 38% and then retrace and then continues back in the same direction, that would be a pretty nice little move, because then I would almost expect that it's going to come back down and retest this moving average, or maybe this zone here. So if it pulls back to the 38%, I'd bring my stop down a little bit closer. And then if it can, this would be the first target, this would be the next target. And you also have, this would be I probably want my target to be down in this area here. So we'll see how this one plays out. It does have a nice strong move down. And the other factor could be, there's two sides of this coin. It's kind of a double-edged sword here. Let me get rid of that Fibonacci. You can have, now if you can look at it from a different perspective, where you have your Fibonacci. Here's the origin of the up move. It isn't an uptrend. It comes up to this area, and it pulls back 50% of this move, and then it goes up to retest your zero line and then higher. So if it starts breaking this moving average and starts going higher, then I will be looking at reversing positions possibly and using this for the target. This would be more of the Fibonacci move, where you have an uptrend, a pullback, and then it goes up to retest the zero line. If it pulls back to the 50%, then your target would be your zero line, your 38, and then your 50 would be your target up here. So that would be a potential target. If it reverses back to retest this, it could go on up to that one. So we'll see. We'll see which way it goes. Any questions so far? Looks like there are some setups. There's that depends if they're going to play very nicely today. Here's a Euro British. This is on a 5-minute chart. Pretty much range bound with that. You can see it's just going bouncing back and forth, going sideways. Check our moving averages. And they're kind of going, they're consolidating, going sideways. We did have a cross of the 200. So this sort of starts, and you can see where it came down, bounced off the 200, went up, came back, bounced off the 200, came back up. It has like almost 3 hits right on the, after the crossover. And this looks like it's probably more of an uptrend here. We have, well, let me see, we have lots of 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Now, technically it's in a downtrend, but we are getting the crossover, which tells me that the downtrend may be coming to an end and going more and start retracing. But it's got a lot to get through right here. There's a lot of barriers, so to speak. So I wouldn't take that one. That's not a good choice. That's Euro British. So I'm just going to take that one off. And we'll keep an eye on my other choices here. I said this would be a bag. This would be considered a bag entry if it were going with the trend. But right now the trend is up. We had the bounce, the arrow. Right now it's dropped, it's basing, and then the question is it going to drop some more, or is it just going to now start to retrace to the upside? So And so that we have this little zone right in here that I'll be looking at. See if that can hold.
If you look at the 5-minute on that chart, you got to break through a support zone there a little bit.
Oh, right. Oh, yeah. With this one, yeah. Yeah, and it bounced right off the 200 moving average on the 5 minutes. So
Yeah.
that doesn't bode well for my trade here. But we'll see. But one thing I do like is that we have the crossover of the faster moving averages. And now it's going to have to come back and retest. So I think this is going to be a retest area. If it can get through, we do have a bit of a trend. Here's a high, lower high, lower high, lower high, rejection, lower high, rejection. So right now we have another little zone right in here. This is almost the kind of the flag pattern. Just take this one across. And this is a pretty sharp, well, probably a little bit more than this, sort of forming somewhat of a wedge there, but I don't want to use that strong up move here for the, let me see. Actually, I don't really like that too much. Take care of that. I do like this little area here, drop. There's a little drop at base, drop, came back, retest. So this area right here is a little, you have like you almost have, now this is on a 5-minute chart, so these zones may or may not be very strong, but I like these little areas right here. We had the drop. You see this long extended range candle. And you see you have a move down, one little candle in, and then a big drop down. This is what I like. This is a nice little basing area, especially when you have one little candle retracement or one little candle inside those 3 areas. This zone, drop, here's the basing. And so I've got my stop way up here right now because I'm going to wait and see what it does in this area. If it comes up here, it may come up, wick up just enough to where it could have taken my stop and then come back down again. So it does have some, it's sort of, as you can see, it's consolidating. Here's a little zone here. Here's another little zone. I could probably take this. There's another little area. This one's a little bit, it's almost like there's a little, that's a pretty strong little area that's got to get through right now. And the New Zealand is, it's relatively neutral right now as far as its strength goes. And the yen is showing a little bit more strength on the higher time frames. This looks more like a little bit of a pullback. When I say that, we're talking about the New Zealand yen. So you see on the 5-minute chart, the New Zealand is right up here. It's one of the strongest. But this is a pullback. And we can see that it's still relatively weak here. It's right here. It's in the middle. It's in the middle 3. Consider that to be kind of neutral. The yen, neutral. The yen is showing a little bit of weakness right now on the higher time frame, right about the middle. So right now, the New Zealand is starting to show a little bit of strength, but right now I think it's more of a pullback into a zone. So I don't think it's got a lot of punch to it right now. I think it's somewhat still consolidating and trying to figure out what direction it wants to go. So we'll see. Any other questions? Let's see if we might have here. British Aussie.
I've got a question from Judson here for you, Al.
Okay, all right. See, I can
How
go ahead and
often? Sorry?
Oh, go ahead. I can read it here. Let me see what we got here.
Okay.
Or you could read it to me if you want.
No, it doesn't matter. Go ahead, read it.
Let's see. How often? The question is, how often do you have a trade that hits take profit and your broker does not close the trade out? I'd have to say not very often. I had a short yesterday and the price fell below the take profit and stayed below take profit for 30 minutes, but my broker did not close the trade, and eventually it retraced and I lost money. It was, if here's the question, first question I had, was it right near the end of the day at the crossover between the end of the day and the new day when they wind the spreads? That'd be my first question, because have you ever noticed that right at the end of the day, it's like the brokers redo their ledger books and you'll see the spreads go ballistic. I mean, I've seen it go 15, 20 pip spread at the end of the day, which means oftentimes you just get stopped out then. Unless the price went through to these, I'm not sure if you're going long or short. It was mid-afternoon. Boy, I haven't, the biggest thing I can see where the candle hits your price, but the spread doesn't get you out, because you remember, that's the only thing I could think of that would have caused that to happen. If both the bid ask price were well through where your target was, it should have been filled, and then I'd maybe contact your broker and find out what happened. I haven't had that happen to me. Generally, if it comes in, if I see the candle goes and it hits my target and bounces back, it's because it didn't get it was like in this case, if your target is, if you have a target price to down here, that red line has to get through, and the white one has to get through, and the red one's got to tag that to be able to get that price filled. So that's the only thing I can think of that could have caused that, and it depends how tight it was. But if it was significantly through your price and it didn't trigger, then I don't know what to tell you other than I'd contact your broker and find out what happened. That generally doesn't happen. And let's see, anything else? And this one's starting to break down here a little bit. We have crossovers. We do have an arrow. That arrow just popped up on this one. British Aussie.
That's on a 5-minute.
Yeah, it is on the 5-minute. Let's see what we look at on here. And this one is in a uptrend. Here would be that's the zone on the 5-minute. It's an uptrend. We do have a crossover moving averages. British Aussie. Aussie showing strength to the British. British is showing weakness right now. It's contra trend, but we are in the contra trend zone. Between 8 and 10 o'clock, we're able to do contra trends. We are showing British weakness pretty much around, and Aussie strength. I think I'll take this one. And put I'm going for 15 pip stop, 7 pip target. My stop is well above my moving averages. We have a nice straw move down. It's basing, and we're just looking for a small little profit target on this one. You could take it all the way down here if you wanted to, but I usually try and just get in and get out.
I had a US Cad right at 8 o'clock.
US, you
Yeah,
did.
you didn't get that, did you? Or did you?
I did not get one. Oh, what time frame there, Eva?
15.
I like just being able to click on that box and having the chart pop up like that. I like that. And I'll go put my template on with my moving averages. Doesn't take very long to do that. Now I've got all my moving averages. I can see it's got a lot of consolidation right here. This is a bounce arrow go. Now the question, are we in the right direction for the trend? And that remains to be seen here. It looks like we're in a downtrend. We get a lot of that this time of day. We get arrows, contra trend arrows. Must be the time of day. So we have an up arrow. Do we have room here from here to up here? That's 14 pips. A little shy of our 20. We'd almost have to break through this in order to get the 20 pips. Could possibly get 5 pips out of it. US CAD, US CAD. US is strong, the CAD is weak. That would favor it to the upside. It's not really pulling back much either. Check out the 5-minute chart and see what it looks like there. Actually, let me get my line in here, my entry line for the arrow, which would be right there. And check the 5-minute and see what it does. What I could do is do a buy stop on this little bit of a pullback. Right now it's right at the moving average, or at the entry. Let's see about Fibonacci retracement. If it comes back down, retags this Fibonacci line, this line right here, we could have a Fibonacci retracement on that. It's right at the 23% retracement. Let's see if we can pull back a little bit further. The other thing we could do is we could do a buy stop and just put it right about in here. Trading buy stop right there. That way, if it comes back down and comes back up, gets us in to trade and go for 5 pips. Modify it. Stop, take profit. And let's see, so if we get into this trade with a price of 28, see 18 for the stop, and 28, and go for 33. See if that does it. There we go. So if we get into this trade, this would be the target. And the stop would be back down here below the moving averages. Let's see, British Aussie has a, how are we doing on that one? That one's starting to behave itself. This one's starting to go in the right direction. And actually, if it can break through this area, if it can break through this candle, we could come all the way down here. I'm going to go for a little bit more on this one. I'm going to take it down to this little doji down here. So it seems to be having a little bit of steam coming in. If it starts struggling with a at 5 and 7 pips, I'll just close that out. Right now, these are only pulled back 11 and 12 pips, so I don't like it, but it's still well within tolerance. Remember, with the arrow strategy, you're usually giving it a 40 pip stop. So I say for myself, anywhere between 15 and 40 pips is usually good. I usually won't let it go to 40. I may let it go a little bit more than 15, depending on what the chart looks like. Biggest thing is keep your stop away from the, have your stop on the other side of some barriers, whether it's a zone that has to get through or a moving average that needs to get through. This one's looking good so far. And let's see, New Zealand yen. Let's take a look at that one again while we're waiting. It's got these barriers. It's started to got a little bit of a pivot high here. That's a little bit of a rejection right off of this moving average. That helps to validate this trend a little bit. It hasn't really, I'd like to see a little bit more of a rejection off of that zone. Here's your anchor, here's your hit. A little bit of a rejection. We'll see if it can see what it does through this area. I like to say come all the way back down into, let's see, where are we at here? I'd like to see it come down at least to get past this little doji right in here. Yeah, we've taken some heat on this one, but so far it's still within tolerance. And we have a Euro Aussie. Let's see, take a look at this one. Euro Aussie, bounce, arrow, go. Let's see if it fits with all the parameters. It's on a 5-minute chart, so we have to keep that in consideration. Don't go for a whole lot off a 5-minute. And we are in a downtrend. We have the arrow. The Aussie is still strong to the euro. Not by a whole lot. Let's get my moving averages up here and load up my template. And we can see we have a 200 moving average right here. I'd like to see it get through that first before. Once it can, we have this little zone, strong move up. Here's a little basing, strong move out of there. This little zone right here could cause some problems. I would use that as the target if I go to the short side. And here is the entrance to, here's the arrow. And you only have 4 pips to your moving average. You only have 7 pips to your target. But if it can get through this area, you've got all this to go to. That'd be 9 pips, and then you could still go on down here. So I'm going to pass on this one. I don't really like the fact that it's got so many barriers in between where my target is. And if I go to a 15-minute chart and see what that looks like. And see, we had the up arrow right here on the 15-minute, and it's coming back to basically retest this area. I like this little 15-minute candle right here. This strong, big red candle, small little red, almost a little, basically that's a neutral candle. And then it broke out again. So this area right here, I think we're going to get a little bit of a bounce off of that. So I'll pass on that. We can keep our eye on it. And here we are on the British Aussie. We're up 7 pips on that one. And I'm about ready to get my target here. And this one could actually still go a lot further down, but you can see it bounce off of that. Our spreads, British, Aussie. Where's our spread here? We have a 2-point spread. Remember, I'm basically trying to go for 5 pips. I usually use 7 pips to cut my spread out. And let's see if it comes and takes it, closest me out. Remember, this red line's got to come all the way down. This red line where the asking price is has to come all the way down to hit my target. The white one doesn't do it. The wick doesn't do it. It's got to be that red line. So this little zone does seem to have a little bit of punch to it. I'm struggling to get through that a little bit. Here's my 5 pips. I'm just going to take that one off, take my 5 pips, put something in the bank for the day. And if it comes back up, it may come back and retest this area. And let's see, we had, in fact, as you look over here, this is on my mentioned earlier. Let's take a look. I'll talk about that a little bit. Here's Aussie Cad, 15-minute chart. And see, are we in an uptrend or downtrend? Lots of green zones, so we are in an uptrend. Put our template up. Moving averages say we're in an uptrend. And so from the alert to the zone, we have 5 pips, no go on that one. Not enough room. So we'll pass on that one. How about the Aussie US? I didn't do that one yet, okay. Put my zones up. My moving average, you can see my moving, they're flattening out, they're consolidating right in here. So this is a nice little rally. This is basing right in here. A little basing here, it's a drop, here's the base. So we're looking at those 2 zones right there. I'm going to pay attention to this one. And we're going to pay attention to the one that it's in right now. If it can break out of this and come back down and retest, we might have a shot at this one, at this zone. See what our direction is. We are in an uptrend. Check our 15-minute chart, see where it's at with that. 15 minutes says it's got a down arrow. So we have a little bit of a conflict there between the 15 and the 5. Here's where the entry would have been off of this arrow. It looks like it's making, it looks like it's going to the upside here, at least a pullback anyway. This was a strong, we're in the uptrend. Here's the daybreak. Here's the overnight high, pulled back. Right now, that's a strong pullback. I kind of like it now better to the upside than the downside on this one. Draw a fib line. Here's where the price left the zone, came on up, retraced back probably about 79%, and which is usually a lot more for a Fibonacci retracement. I usually like it to stay. I usually like the 38 to 62% pullback and then reject it and then go back up. This is a little bit more of a, it's a little deeper retracement than I would normally like for a Fibonacci move. But it does give us that this could be that possible, from an Elliott wave standpoint, this could be your wave 1, wave 2, and then this could rocket on up. This would be the first retest of this area. So we have a little trend here with rejection. Now the question is it going to give us a little flag pattern here to be able to go to the upside or just retest? I look for a third retest of this. Here's the anchor. Here's the first hit. I'd like to see another retest of the trend line before I'd be looking to take it long. Let's take a look at our US CAD. It hasn't triggered yet. It's just about to. Actually, the trigger is, it was a buy. It's pulling. See, this is one reason why I like using the buy stops is it came back down and it never got me into the trade. And now it takes you away as it's taking all that heat. You won't have to be taking that heat. You're not even on the trade yet. So in fact, I'm going to pull this one off. And now I'm looking at a retracement. Here's the origin. Here's the leg up. Here's the leg down. Right now we're at a 38% retracement. All of our moving averages say we're going to the upside. This is just a pullback. And the Canadian dollar is showing some strength right now, but I don't know if that's going to be short-lived or not. Here's a nice rally. Here's a little basing, another rally. Now it's retesting this zone right in here, which is right at the 38% retracement. And it seems to be equal zones on this one. Let's try the 15-minute. 1, 2, 3, 4. Looks like it's in a downtrend. There's our arrow. Get a nice little wick on this candle right here, right at the 38% retracement. Any questions so far?
We're all just watching,
They're just watching Aussie Cad 15 minutes.
learning.
Here's the arrow. Here's a bounce arrow go. And let's see what's our trend on this one. I don't think there's enough room here. Yeah, it's only 6 pips to the upside there. Here's a bounce arrow, but right now it's really ranging right in between these two zones. The whole range on these zones are only 15 pips. Not enough to get your target out of it. Let's take a look at the CAD and see where that's gone here. Moving averages are still consolidating, still going sideways. It's a nice little drop, base, drop. It hasn't retested the base, this little base yet. It does have the moving averages. It's got to get through this one. And it's challenging the 62. And if we're looking at strength, the Canadian strength to the yen right now, if we look at our chart over here, here's the Canadian dollar. This is on the 5-minute chart. Canadian strong to the yen. Yen's about middle, going weaker. Yen and Canadian on the 15 are right about equal. And the CAD is still weak on the higher time frames, but it looks like it's starting to maybe gain a little bit of strength here. Nothing real conclusive. We'll just buy our time and just keep waiting to see when things start changing. And I have a question for all of those of you who sent me an email for the RCS indicator, or Hercules is what it's going to be called. Did you get the email that I sent, and did you have any problems getting it loaded? You just give me a message in the chat, either yes, you got it and you didn't have any problems, or everything's good. I sent it out yesterday afternoon, or actually yesterday morning. You should have gotten the email.
Judson hasn't looked yet. He's been so busy.
Okay. Well, keep me posted. Let me know if you had any problems getting loaded up. Whoever has it.
Daniela, she got the email. I will do it in a month if that's okay.
I would say do it more than a month, because within a month I don't expect that free version to be trial version to be working. So I'd like to see you get it loaded up before then. I don't know when it's going to go away, but I like to think it's not going to be a whole month away.
You can use the free version of TradingView, Daniela. You don't have to get a paid subscription.
Yeah. You'll just subscribe to TradingView. You just get the free version, and you should be able to load it up on that.
Eric says he got it, but it only loads in pound US. Oh, okay. Because we'll tell you how to change that in a minute, Eric. He's probably only got the 2 currencies loaded instead of auto. He's probably got it on symbol.
Oh, yeah.
Judson's going to try to get to it in the next couple of days. Karina, I've received the mail and also installed it, only I don't understand all those beautiful lines.
Okay. All right. Well, when we have a little time here, I'll go through that a little bit here if we have a chance here this morning. Give you guys a chance to open up your TradingView charts, and then I'll give you a quick rundown on how to use it. And let's see, what else do we have here? These things are still hanging in there. They're not too exciting either way. US is showing strength now on all 4 time frames. And the British is weak. US British. Let's take a look at the US British USD. That'd be over here. Let's take a look at this one. Yeah, I expect that free version to only be good for till the end of this month. That's what my plan is.
That's just a trial, Daniela, so don't wait. Give it a try to see if you even like it or think you're going to use it.
Let's see here. We have 15-minute chart, more green than red. That's an uptrend. Right, I picked this one because right now the dollar is the strongest to the British on all 4 time frames. So I like that to the downside. Let's see if we can get an arrow on anything here. A couple arrows right here. I like this. It is in the wrong trend, but see where everything is. This one's nice little breakout here. I never saw the arrow pop up on this one, but here's where we are. This was the entry of this down arrow. This is not a bag entry because we didn't get the bounce off of this. I'll go back to our 15-minute chart. This was the 30-minute alert that we had, but I didn't see any 30-minute arrows on this. Interesting. Make a little bounce off of this.
Hey, Al.
Yes.
I don't know if you want to play it all in the crypto space, but there's a pretty good bag entry on Ripple right now.
I don't know that I have Ripple on here. Let me see if I can pull that one up.
Real nice M formation that just got an arrow. Kind of why I haven't jumped in yet. It's backing up just a little bit right now to see if I can get a better entry, but it looks like it's gonna bounce off the.
That's RP. Let's be this one right here.
Yep.
Show. Close.
On the M5.
Let me get the chart up. M5. And I noticed I tried looking at Coinbase. I wasn't able to trade. They're not trading Ripple yet after that February deal they had. I guess you have to do it on the Envy, I guess. I'm not seeing on any of the other exchanges. Load. Oh yeah, I see that. Well, let's see, we have a arrow right there. Lots of room to the downside, that's for sure. And showing weakness. Bounce, arrow, go. And let's see, where are we at in the trends department here? Oh, downtrend. That fits the criteria. We're breaking through all the moving averages. The moving averages were consolidating, and I would look at maybe a sell stop on this one. And if it breaks through that, we could go all the way down to this area right in here.
Yeah, I have a fib up there, and right where you just pointed to the stop is the 38.
Okay. Well, I'll tell you what we're going to do is I'm going to put I'm in a demo platform on this one right now, so I'm just going to be experimenting. I'm not used to trading these, but I do think this one has the potential to working out. So I'm going to use the bottom of this wick for a sell stop, and I'm going to trade and sell stop. I'm going to adjust it, modify it. And we're going to be looking at, so I'm going to go 130.49 for a stop.
I don't know, Al, if you want to adjust your position size, though.
Yeah, I don't know I'm not sure what the position size to adjust these. I haven't traded these to know what the spreads and everything are.
Well, they each move. It's not like Forex. I can't tell you exactly. It's like $10 move is a $1 move.
I'm going to do a see, I'm going to do a 0.1. We'll try a 0.1, so on that, a 0.1, just see what the values are on this. I'll go with the smallest position I can take is a 0.01. And then we're going to, so that's the position size. We're going to come back over here. I'm going to put my arrow right where I want it, left, and I'm going to see. Let's see how we do this. Have my arrow there and go to trading. I'm going to go to a sell stop, and that's going to put it right where wherever my arrow was. That's where it's going to put it. And we're going to go with it, modify it, and let's go with. Let's see. Let's go with. I'm going to put my stop up here around the 134.50. Call it. I don't know what that's going to be. And the target will be, put it down, target about 126. 26.50, modify it. And I'll just go and adjust it to where I think it should be. I'm going to move it right to the top of this little wick right here for the target. I'll move my stop down. I'll keep it above, I'll just keep it above this zone for right now. We're not in the trade yet. Not liking any of these so far. Just let's take a look at this one. How's this one doing? British Swiss, 30-minute chart. Pull up my template. I got all my moving averages. It's consolidating. This one's starting to curl over. This one's, so right now it's ranging. It's trying to decide if it wants to break out of this or not. If it breaks out of this, I was probably looking for this for a target. If all these candles moving right on up, and this guy get through this wick, I'd say you'll probably, this little wick right here, then you have a nice little body right in there. Here's a little wick over wick area, strong move up, came up, rejected, came back down. This area right in here, I would be looking at for a target. And if it were to break, and we have 20 pips to the top of that, that would probably work okay. We do have a down arrow. We have an arrow on the 30-minute. This would be more of a swing trade type of time frame here. And let's see what it looks like on a lower time frame. Let me just see what we have here. We have whenever I see a big gap like this between, we have these two zones up here, big gap in another zone, that's just telling me that I think it's got a lot of room to the upside, even though it's got more red than green because of this big old space right in here. If it can get through that, it's got a lot of room to the upside. But right now it's in a downtrend. And that's on the 30-minute. Let's see what it looks like on the 15. Looks like the same scenario. And let's go to the 5, just see what it looks like on that. Lots of basing right here. You see all these up and down arrows. I couldn't decide which way it want to go. Give it up arrow, down arrow, up arrow, down arrow. That's not ideal. Five-minute down arrow, came back down, rejected it. Didn't get much out, wouldn't have gotten much out of this move right here, but here's where the arrow was. It's got 20 pips to this zone. So the nice little pullback right here. We have all of our moving averages are consolidating. They're starting to turn. We got the 200 is being crossed over by the arrow and then the 62. There's a high, lower high, lower high, lower high. We have a little trend going on right in there. And the Swiss is stronger than the British, so we do favor the downside on this. Actually, I like this one to the downside. What I'm going to do is I'm going to take this one short with a little tight stop. And then move my target down to right around in this area. I like this little pullback. It has a nice little trend going down. It's crossing all the moving averages. And I can keep my stop just above. If it's seen, we have a nice little rally. It kind of base a little bit. We have this little zone right here, which is a little doji. So I'm not giving this a whole lot of space here. I have like a 10 pip stop on this one. I could move it on up to the top of this little candle right here. Now, if it does come up and read, it could give us a little bit of a trap right in here. If it comes up, breaks through this upper trend line. But I like this little pullback. Here was the candle, went down, rejected, taking a little bit of heat, but we didn't get in it till we took it pretty much off the bounce of this trend line. And I have all these moving averages as a little bit of a barrier to my stop. And we'll see if it makes a liar out of me. The New Zealand yen is starting to behave for us. We're going down to five pip drawdown on that one. This was a little bit of a trap. It came right up, broke through the trend line, couldn't hold it. We'll see how this candle closes. This candle closes outside the trend line and rejects, and I'll get out of this trade. Right now, it's looking like it was this trend line was being rejected. And the British pound is still weak to the Swiss, showing strength to the downside. Right now, I'm okay with this trade because remember, here's the anchor. Here was the anchor. This was the. We could have taken maybe all the way up here. I don't know if that would have made much difference. I like. Well, kind of like, yeah, kind of like it. This one that hit. That way, I have this little zone from this candle, the top of this candle for the first hit to the rejection. This is a little bit of a zone right there. You can see where this now becomes, you can almost move this part up into, here's where the first hit was and where the breach of the trend line was, the top of this candle. And now my stop is still on the other side of that. Now, if it comes back up and it closes above this trend line, I'll probably just get out of this trade and just take a small loss on it. Looks like my New Zealand yen trade is starting to materialize. That was this one right here. Took some heat on it, but it seems like it's working out okay. And XRP, what are we doing with XRP here? We're not in that trade yet. We had a nice little pullback. Still have the down arrow. Any questions? So we have about 10 more minutes, and then we'll be wrapping this thing up. And looks like I think Jackie's supposed to be in the other room today.
See you tomorrow, Jetson.
Keep an eye on all these open trades right now. I have enough trades open. Usually I don't like having more than about three at any one time. And you can see that even my free margin, even with 3 trades open, I still have lots of free margin here. And there was a question about that yesterday. But this is what you want to be focusing on. You don't want to have that free margin getting down to, even below 100 is, well, depends on the size of your account. But you don't want it. You want to keep it as far away from zero as you can. Once it gets zero or into the red, your broker is likely to start taking and closing out your trades.
Daniela's got a question for you. Why does your Kiwi yen show twice on your chart under the arrow pips? You know, the counter.
Kiwi yen on down here?
No, on your arrow pips where it shows your counter on the chart.
Oh,
yeah.
Oh, that's a good question. I don't know the answer to that one.
It does weird things sometimes like
Yeah,
that.
there's still some little glitches and things that's gives us some. We don't quite know what's going on with them. I find some anomalies, like we'll get an alert here, but we don't get the arrow. We get an alert down here, and we don't get the arrow or something. I think there's still a few bugs left. There's still to work out. I'd be honest with you, I really don't pay a lot of attention to this counter here. Unless I'm in the Kiwi yen twice, which I shouldn't be. Now, if I have 2 charts up, that might have it. Let me see. Do I have the Kiwi yen twice here by chance?
Hermosen said it could have been on your template when you saved the template, so it'll show up every time you load your template.
Oh, that's a possibility.
Yeah.
Let's see that. Let me see here. If I pull up the template, let's say if I take this off, put the template back on again. Kiwi yen. I know it went away.
Oh, no,
Maybe that was it. That may have been it. That may have been the answer to the question. You just have to reload your template again. I may have had it on 2 different charts, 2 different time frames. It's all switched back and forth. Now, when you do that, when you take the template off, you have to reload your templates again, which is not a big deal. I find it almost easier than the way we were doing it before.
See, now your German is back. So it must be saved on the template.
Oh, yeah, that wasn't there before, now was it? Yeah, that thing keeps showing. That one just doesn't go away.
It's
or it goes away, and it's like this bad penny that keeps popping up.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know why it does that.
Well, if you saved your template when you had an open position with the German 30, it's going to be there every time until you update your template again.
But I don't even have the German 30 chart up here.
Well, no, but your template, you just reloaded your template.
Okay.
Yeah.
So if I resave this template, would that go away, do you think?
You have to, but you have to wait till you have no open trades to do it.
Oh, I see. Okay.
Otherwise, all these will pop up next time.
Right, exactly.
Okay.
Yeah.
And CB, after this session, could you meet me in the 888 room after this? I have a couple questions for you.
Yeah, I'm definitely going to get on Jackie's call, but I can hop on there.
It'll be quick. It'll be quick.
Yeah, sure.
And let's see, right now we still have about another 7 minutes before Jackie comes on. She might be worth listening to. She trades the indexes, she trades stocks, she's doing all kinds of things in there.
Yeah, I plan on being in there today. Want to see what the girl has to offer this week.
And so right now we're still waiting for us to, we did take a little bit of we did get profitable on the one trade. We're still waiting on the other 2 or 3. This one's still, the XRP is pending. I'm going to get rid of that one since it hasn't triggered yet. If I delete, I'm going to delete that one out. And we have a couple new ones here. Here's a Euro Yen. Looks like it could be in an uptrend. Here's the arrow. It's not a bounce arrow goes. No, it's not a bag entry, but here's the arrow. Lots of room to the downside, looks like. The yen is showing strength to the euro by a whole bunch. And just based on that, I'm going to take this trade. So 5 pips. There's my, I'll just move this to the, again, I like to move these things out of harm's way. And here's the target. It's going to have to get down through this wick, but my target is right inside that little wick right over here. And I'll go to a 5-minute chart to see if there's any 5-minute zone. And there is a 5-minute zone, but it's right. My target is just on the edge of that 5-minute zone. Check my moving averages. And it's right, bouncing right. It's penetrating the 200 moving averages barely. That's on the 5-minute chart. Go back to the 15. And here's our target. This could be our target zone right here. I would not use this for a target with this thing pointing up like this. I would be okay using this. If we get a nice little spike down, it could come out and pick it up. But if it comes back down, I'm looking at if it's anywhere between, this is the other area that I'd be looking at right in this area, right at the 130.42. And that would be, that's basically where my 7 pips would be. I'm just going to mark that. End of that one. Then that's the end of the bottom of the money zone. Here's today's money zone. And here's the overnight. Nice overnight low, came back out. Here's where it broke out. You know, it's retesting. And we may get a lower low on the money zone. If so, that should get us into our trade. Or at least if it retests it, that should give us our profit target. And so with that, any other questions before we wrap this thing up and give you a chance to get over it, take a break and get over into Jackie's room, which starts at 9 o'clock.
Very welcome, Danielle. It's so great to have you in the room every day.
Yeah. Okay. Well, thanks everybody. Appreciate you showing up. It's always good to have you. It's nice to have the conversation, the help, and the comments are always welcome. We'll be here again tomorrow. Oh, yes, CB.
Yep. Thanks a lot.
Oh, yeah. Thanks for coming, and we'll see everybody tomorrow, same time, 7:30 to 9. See you then.
See y'all tomorrow. Have a great day.